Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the FTD webinar titled Organic versus Paid Social, the Perfect Pair. With a combined 28 years of marketing experience, we are excited to welcome today's featured presenters, marketing consultants, Tracy Oswald and Kate Myers. As a quick housekeeping note, Tracy and Kate will be taking questions throughout the session. If you have a question, simply type it in the chat box in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. All right, let's get started. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much. We are going to have a very spirited discussion about social media. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. And before we get into it, I want to know how long do you think the average adult spends on social media, like each day in 2022? Put your answers in the chat. I don't have a prize, but you will be the winner if you get it right. Because look, we're all spending a lot of time on social media, right? Especially with the world being the way it is. So how long do you think, how many minutes or hours a day do you think the average adult spends on social media? What is your guess, Kate? Well, everyone's guessing.
Oh man, well, I have the little notification my phone gives me every week. So for me, it's in between probably 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah, we got 3 hours. Karina says 4 hours. Amber says 2 hours. So it is actually 2 hours and 24 minutes. But I think that's like the average. That I'm definitely way over that. So I totally feel you. You know, we're going to talk today about, something that we get so many questions on, and that is social media has the ability to do businesses so much good, but it gets tricky and hard to break down. What do you do when it comes to ads? How do you build your organic presence? How do you stay in the conversation in a way that doesn't make it your full-time job, right? As a florist, as a business owner, and drives traffic and leads to your website. And that can get really tricky. So we're going to dive into it, and Kate's got some incredible information that she's going to share with us. But I would love to first ground us in kind of where socializing fits into what we do online. And this is, we've used this slide before. We used it when we were talking about PPC. So can you give us, Kate, the very high level of what social brings to the party when it comes to what we do online?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's pretty much 3 main ways that we all utilize the internet in general and just being online. We can be searching for things. We can be searching out for information, a product or service that will fulfill some type of need that we have. You could be socializing, which is more of what we're talking about today, but obviously that's connecting with different people on all of the different social media platforms that are out there. So keeping in touch with friends and family, that kind of thing. And then surfing is kind of just being online, just sitting around looking for interesting things to do and just kind of using up your time there. So kind of a mix in between. Absolutely.
I have another question just because I have to know. And I think you all know from last time what my favorite social media platform is, but of all the social media platforms, what is your favorite social media platform that you like to be on for entertainment and socializing? Put it in the chat, and I'm going to ask this of you, Kate. What is yours?
Oh man, that's a good one. I'm going to have to go with, Tracy, I know this is your favorite too. I'm going to have to go with TikTok.
I know.
TikTok.
It is. It's a rabbit hole. Can't get out of it.
Truly.
Karina says Instagram. Amber says TikTok. Also, when it comes to, I do love me some Instagram, and I feel like Facebook is like the big granddaddy of them all, right? Yes. Wielding, or Meta, should we call them, wielding so much power and influence and opportunity. So let's look at the next slide, because I want to talk about when we think about getting our message out on social media to people, right? When we think about engagement on social, we hear this term a lot. How do we know when to engage, or when our customers, right, are feeling social, right? Because do we want to put things out there when they're not there, when they're not looking? how do we know, how can everyone on this call know when those times are when people are feeling like they want to engage and have a conversation or see ads or just even be on social media?
Yeah, so fortunately, Facebook has been around for such a long time now that they have excellent analytics on the back end. And they're able to provide us a lot of information about what days, what time of day people are most active on social media. So if you kind of look in the settings, analytics part of your Facebook page, it can usually give that information to you. And that's kind of how you know when might be a good time to start interacting with people. And we know how difficult it is to run a business and engage with people when they're on social media.
Yeah.
So there are some tools that Facebook has to help, like scheduling posts, automatic responses on Messenger, which I think is super important. Just because people nowadays, with everything being so instant all the time, they kind of do expect an instant response when they're
for
looking
sure
for services. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious, everyone out there in the audience, who has experience doing Facebook ads on your own? I'm super curious. I would love to know if you do, and then what your experience has been, because like Kate said, the tools and the analytics and what what Facebook can tell you about your customers or customers that look like your customers, I mean, it has grown by leaps and bounds since they first started with ads, low these many years ago. So let me know in the comments if you have done Facebook yourself. I would love to hear about your experience. Look, at the end of the day, like I just said, Facebook is the granddaddy with almost 3 billion people using Facebook on a monthly basis. When you think about the power of what Facebook can do for a business, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, these statistics are pretty crazy, right? Almost 3 billion monthly active users. 76% of Facebook users log in at least once a day. I know I do. And 1 in 3 use social media to discover new products and services. So it's with these kinds of statistics, it's so important to be on Facebook because where people are. I know there's a ton of social media platforms out there, but like we've been saying, Facebook is one of the older ones that's stuck around. So that's definitely where people are still at, even though it is, it's been going on for several years.
Yeah, for sure. And, especially, since, COVID and with everyone being home and, social media usage has skyrocketed and has not gone back down. And I find myself now, because of habits I created the last 2 years, purchasing more things directly from social media. I don't know if that's true of you, but the stats say that has gone way up. People taking direct action and actually just purchasing things from ads. All right. It can get tricky and confusing. So can you please break down for us, Kate, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty here, what the difference is between social media ads and what they call organic social presence or organic posts, right? You can look at it 2 ways. We're super happy to take any questions because this is where we usually get questions about stuff like this. So if you have questions, please pop them in the chat. We will take them because we want to answer you in real time. If you have a question and you're thinking it, your peers are probably thinking it and wondering it too. So please, please, please put those answers in the chat. All right, give it to us high level, and then we will break it down in a little bit more detail, Kate.
Sounds good. Okay, so I'll start with the social media ads first. Ads are going to be any type of posting that you put money behind. So you're kind of getting it out to a larger, wider audience there. And one of the main things with ads is you can actually optimize for specific objectives or actions that you want this audience to take. So for example, if you really want to drive traffic to your website, get phone calls, get somebody to fill out a form fill, have someone purchase something on your site, things like that, ads are really the way to go. That's the way to push people to do things. It's really great if you're having any type of big sale or promotion that can really draw users' eyes and stop them from scrolling. Because that's, the most important thing with ads is you want to catch people's attention, because they're going to be right in the middle of all the friends and family posts and everything. But really what it comes down to is these are a little bit, they have more tangible, measurable outcomes.
Sure.
Can really see what actions are taken from these ads, and also the targeting possibilities that Facebook has honed over the years have grown really, really robust, just because of all of the data and refinement that they've done over the years. So their targeting features are pretty extensive there. And then kind of going into the organic social piece. So high level organic is anything that is free. You're posting it and you're not paying any money to post it. So it's on your Facebook page, and it's really only going to be shown to the users that follow your page. So probably most likely your existing customers. But these are really focused more on engagement. You're really trying to develop strong customer relationships by interacting with people where they are already, which is on your Facebook page. It's a loyal audience that's already there, and you're kind of creating a little community there. You can establish trust in your business with organic posts, and it's really an opportunity to tell your brand story. And another thing with organic social is encouraging user-generated content. This is something that's kind of really gaining more traction here, and it's really powerful as we're moving towards advertising that looks less like ads and more like regular social posts, because that's what target audiences are liking to see. And it's really important to be on social, again, for user-generated content, because it's easy to share things that people have already tagged you in.
Can you give we do have a question, but I wanted to can you give an example to everyone of specifically what user-generated content might be for them? The local florist in their town, what would their audience put on Facebook and tag them in, and how can they encourage that?
Sure, yeah. So for example, if it was me, let's say I get a beautiful bouquet of flowers and I just think these are gorgeous. I want everyone to see it, know that I got this bouquet, and I'm feeling really good about myself. So I am sharing this picture and I'm going to tag the business that I got them from. So what you can do then is it just pops up that somebody tags you. You can share it. That highlights your product, engages with the customer that posted that and all of your customers that are following you. And also shows a really good customer experience of somebody that's really happy.
Yeah, for sure. Love that. If you have questions about user-generated content, please pop them in the chat. But we have a question that says, how do I get started with ads? Where do I go? Right. So there's, I'm going to let Kate, who is the expert, answer the technical part. So there's two places you can go. I mean, there's lots of places you can go, but there's two places that I want to recommend. First, you can always reach out to your field account manager who can help you get started with some of the great programs that we have. And you can also do this yourself, right? So if they wanted to do this themselves, Kate, on Facebook, just super high level, I know we don't have time to go into any technical show and tell, but where would they go?
Yeah, so you can actually do there's a couple different ways that you can do it. But if you're looking for more of like a boosted post, which is super easy to do, it's just right there on your Facebook page. Any post that you have there, it'll have a little button that says boost your post. So that you can easily put money behind your post that way and get it out to a little bit wider audience. And you can also go into your ads manager, business.facebook.com. So that's
again, business.facebook.com.
Yep. And
Okay.
that's a way to do like the more targeted social media ads.
Right. And you can, and once you get in there, you'll have to set up, what your and this leads perfectly into the next slide, which is breaking down the three types of specific social, Facebook ads or social ads that you can do. So when you go to business.facebook.com, you'll have to answer some questions and you have to decide when we put, when this ad, is running, what do you want to happen? Do you want them to come to your website? Do you want to get this ad in front of people who have already visited your website? Or do you want to generate leads directly right there in the platform? Just like I talked about, because people do buy right from social media. So can you break down for us these 3 different ad types and what they do?
Sure. Yeah. So these are going to be your 3 most basic objectives that you can use in this the ads manager in Facebook. Website clicks is going to be pretty much just what it sounds like, which is really people towards going through the ad to your website. So when they click on the ad, your website pops up, or whatever landing page that you choose. So that's the big objective there. Retargeting functions the same way as a website clicks ad. So it's just people clicking on the ad and going to your website or landing page. But the targeting is a little bit more targeted here. Facebook actually has a lot of data on the back end where it's able to track people that have visited your website, interacted with your Facebook page, interacted with your brand. It can actually retarget them and redeliver these ads to those people. And it can also even create an audience of people that look like those people just based on how they act in Facebook, which is pretty crazy, but
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's an awesome way to really get in front of people that are already engaging with you and to find people that look like them. So that is an awesome resource there. And just using Facebook resources. And then lead ads are kind of like Tracy said, the way that those function is it's an ad on Facebook, you click on it. And some of you may have experienced this already just on your own feed. A little form pops up right there in Facebook. You don't even have to leave the platform. And customer enters their information, and then that gets sent to you as the advertiser, and then you can follow up from there. So that is a really good way to generate leads directly.
And you know what, I think it bears mentioning, right? So it sounds like website clicks and lead ads, you could say, right, when you have a website clicks ad as your, like, that's the strategy you want to go after. You want people to leave Facebook and go to your website and look at your website and potentially either call you or buy something directly on your website. And there's, I would say, I don't want to say risk. There's low risk for you, like it's better to get them to your website, right? You might think. But when you're in social media, a lot of times you don't want to leave social media. You want to stay in that comfy, like, social media environment. And that's where lead ads, where you can stay in the Facebook platform, it's almost like you're reducing friction for people to be able to interact with you, and you get all of their information, right? So you can reach out to them. It's like you're giving them, this on-ramp, this like really like, or the shortcut to getting what they want and making it more convenient for them. So I think it bears mentioning that they're not the same, they're similar. One, they go right to your website, they have to leave Facebook, and some people are fine to do that. And lead ads lets them stay in that comfy social media environment. And the psychology is different, right? When you're on social media, right, you might be sitting in your, in your house, or sitting on your back porch, or, waiting in line at the grocery store. It's like there's not this high pressure where you feel like you need to buy. You're in this comfy environment where you're scrolling through your friends and family's posts. So it's almost like the business is coming into that person's living room, like metaphorically. So thinking about it that way might be able to help you to make a decision about how you want to interact with those potential customers. I want to ask the person who asked the question, how do I get started with ads? Where do I go? I just want to make sure we answered that, or if you have any follow-up questions to that, we're happy to answer. All right. Pardon my little side rant. I had to make that comparison. So look, the bottom line is social media and having ads on social media can put your business in front of both current customers, right, that you already do business with or you already know, and new customers to create awareness. So Kate, can you talk us through, like, encapsulate the benefits to ads for us, and then we'll move on to organic presence and how important that is in engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. So social ads, like Tracy said, you're getting in front of new customers, which is creating more awareness and ultimately, hopefully increasing sales. That's kind of what we want with ads most of the time. And as we've said, consumers already spend so much time on social already. This is an awesome way to just meet them right where they're at. And as for the highly trained certified experts, reach out to your field account manager to get more information about the different programs we have available that tap into these really powerful experts and all of their experience. There's a ton of targeting capabilities. And I know it's extensive and they can definitely be overwhelming, but ultimately the right targeting can really help you get in front of the right audience.
Totally, yes. All right, next slide. Organic presence and organic engagement is sometimes seen or thought of as less important than ads. And I want us to set the record that is just as important. In fact, when you're running ads, if you have a really strong organic presence and engagement, it can help boost the effectiveness and the ROI of your ads. So Kate, tell us how.
Absolutely, that's definitely true. They definitely kind of work hand in hand because like we said before, the ads are really focused on the user taking a specific action, but the organic is more focused on the engagement and really developing that relationship with social media users. And as we have the statistics here, which are just mind-blowing to me, 80% of brands miss out on the opportunity to build connections because they don't measure the pulse of their social presence. Mm-hmm. So it's so important to take the time to monitor this and make sure you're engaging with the people that are reaching out to you and engaging with you. Even if somebody is engaging about maybe a bad experience that they had, you can really gain back their trust and their business simply just responding with a well thought out message. And then other customers or potential customers would see this too and really take that.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And here's what I want to say. How many of you have ever asked a business, you've been on Facebook and you send them a message because they say, we answer messages and all of that. And you send a message, or you put something in the comments on one of their posts asking a question, and literally no one ever gets back to you. But you see them posting, right? Like, it's not like it's a dead account. It's like this very live, social media account. And it's very frustrating. And every time it leads me to never, ever do business with that business, because if they're not monitoring and engaging, right, and listening to, like you said, I like how you said that. What was it? They don't measure the pulse, right? What's happening? What was the conversation sound like? And what are my customers and potential customers asking? So if you all have any kind of Facebook page, go check it right after this. Make sure you are getting back to people that are answering your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone's reaching out to your Facebook page and messaging you, that's almost like a phone call,
Yes.
Out. So it's definitely important to reach back out to them, even if it's something about what hours do you have, and they can easily find that. It's just good customer service, and you're just able to connect with people. And I guess just think of social media of how you use social media yourself with this.
Right.
You don't be left on red. So
totally. All right, let's look at this last slide and bring it home for us, Kate. What do we want people to remember about today?
Yeah, so the biggest thing, and I know we've said it a bunch of times here, but this is the most important thing, is people are using social media. They're on there all the time. I know I'm on my phone, like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day, which is way too much. But people are out there, they're on social media. So it's an awesome way as a business owner to meet them there and really be where people are at, where they're engaging, where they're spending their time. There's like in the beginning of this, we said there's 3 main ways that people use online presence. I mean, this is one of 3. So it's a huge way to interact with people and to, like we said, meet people where they are.
Love it. All right, Janet, back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies. That was a lot of great information. I appreciate it. I want to thank everyone for attending as well. Recording will be available on demand on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel. And as I mentioned, if you want help from FTD, if this seems too overwhelming, we've got programs and services that we can help you. Contact your field account manager. And for more education programming from FTD, visit ftdi.com to register for those upcoming free webinars and design shows, as well as viewing past education programs on demand. Thanks, everyone.